Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine Odessa. We are starting our briefing day with quite an unusual event for us. This event is initiated by Media Center Ukraine Odessa, journalists and fixers who work in Odessa and in Kherson. Yesterday at night, a press officer of Kherson, Dmytro Pletenchuk, and the head of the press service of the tactical group Grim, was suspended. We know that this happened after the Russian fighter Su-35 was donned. Dmytro posted about this on his Facebook page. Then this post disappeared, and after that he was dismissed. We do not know for sure that these events are related, but that was the consequence of the events. This fact was not accepted by the journalists, freelancers who work in Kherson and who used to work in Mykolaiv, and there Dmytro Pletenchuk also worked and helped to find characters for stories and articles. That's why today we would like to give floor to Dmytro Pletenchuk's colleagues who know him as the press officer, and then I will add a few words about the statement that was sound by several dozens journalists. Now I would like to give floor to Artem Perfilov, fixer journalist and local producer. Good afternoon, my name is Artem Perfilov. It is unusual for me to be on this side and not on that side. The group of journalists and figures, not only of Odessa region, but all over Ukraine, are against dismissal of Dmytro Pletenchuk. Dmytro told us that he was dismissed because of the Facebook post about the donned fighter. But this is only one question among several issues addressed to the Operative Command South, but that was the last event that brought to this briefing to discuss the work of journalists in the South. I know personally that Dmytro Pletenchuk was one of the most efficient press officers in the South, but I could also say that Dmytro was one among a few people who was quite effective in his work, both first in Mykolaiv and then in Kherson. When it comes to the common rules all over Ukraine, we can see that the Odessa region is somehow unique. Sometimes Odessa region has some specific rules, and we don't know the reason. All the answers that we get are unclear. Maybe this is a military secret. And as far as I know, they are aware of this press conference, but we don't have any representatives of the Common South now. But the main our message today were against of dismissal of one of the most efficient press officer responsible for communication with Kherson, Bohdan Maksymets, journalist. Good afternoon. I would like to share more details about the communication issues and the work of press officers all over Ukraine. It is not only about the southern regions of Ukraine, but about the whole territory, the whole combat zone. I've been dealing with communication for quite a long time. And the first KPI is what is told about the events in a region. I think that starting from the occupation of some part of the right bank of Kherson, those who worked in Mykolaiv and in Mykolaiv region, everyone knows about the efficiency of Dmytro Pletenchuk. And you focused not only on military activity, but on crimes and attacks of the peaceful city of Mykolaiv, the attacks by artillery, SLRs, and I think that all of us knew that we could reach Dmytro at 6 in the morning, at 2 in the morning, and we knew that he was always ready to support us, to help organize our work there, and we could also get his advice on whether it was worth that going there. And actually, we can know that in many operational zones, such person is in need. That's why I would like to say that the performance of Dmytro as a press officer, first covering events in Mykolaiv and then in Kherson, I can remind about that famous photo that was made after the attack of Mykolaiv regional administration. And in the photo, we can see Dmytro with the flag of Ukraine, and he has already become a symbol of fighting Mykolaiv against Russian aggression. And numerous foreign mass media, as well as national mass media, hundreds or thousands of media outlets published that photo, and that was the symbol of Ukrainian fight in the southern regions. That's why the dismissal of Pletenchuk is of no use, because he was very efficient in his job. And there is few persons who are that efficient in such positions. That's why we need to support such people. We need to widen its area of responsibility. And we could not accept what is going on now. And this is some kind of information sabotage. And this person shall not be dismissed from the position. That's why the whole journalist community of the south of Ukraine is ready to support Dmytro. Yulia Khymeryk, journalist. I would like to add that we know there are some rumors that Dmytro asked us to protect him, and that this press conference was organized and initiated by Dmytro himself. But this is not the truth. The truth, all people who are here now, who can be seen in the broadcast, though behind the cameras, are ready to protect the only press officer in the south of Ukraine whom perform his functions. Without Dmytro, the information front in the south of Ukraine will fail, because he was the only person who performed his duties without any Soviet heritage. We could contact him any time of the day, and he was ready to share contacts of the fire brigades, prosecutor's office, and other institutions. He was always ready to support journalists in their coverage. He understood that it was very important to show the war to people, for them not to forget about the war. And that would be our biggest problem, because the front line is only a physical line, but this is also the struggle for people's minds. And Dmytro, fought with the Russian propaganda outlets and channels, and I hope that Dmytro will be brought back to his job. Olena Rotary, journalist. Support of Dima is also a story about how important it is now to get operative information by journalists. So this is a kind of a demand for freedom of speech that we have not lost during the war. We try to communicate authentic information, and this is what makes us different from our, so to say, colleagues from terrorist Russia. If you want to reform Ukrainian army according to the NATO standards, we need to bring in line the work of press services to those standards: operative, effective communication, crisis communication, and of course, safety and confidentiality. When it comes to the situation with information about the Don't Sue plane, all Telegram channels at that point informed about that event. But Ukrainian journalists could not rely only upon Telegram channels as the source of the information, because it will lead to improper development of Ukrainian journalism when it comes to the international standards. That's why that was the decision to dismiss Dmytro Pletenchuk was too soon, because Russia has still plans to occupy south of Ukraine, and we need to fight not only on the physical front line, but also to fight in the information field. And I would like to congratulate our Marine Forces for liberation of Mykolaiv and Kherson oblasts. The people keep coming today, and later we'll be able to show you the amount of people in the hall now. Olena Solomonova. Good afternoon. I would like to say that a person who used to work in Donetsk, Kharkiv, and Kherson Oblast, I could compare the Odessa with other regions, and we fall behind. Dmytro was the only press officer who understood the importance of communication, the urgency of the information provided, and the importance of our work. That's why I believe that the dismissal of Dmytro from the position of the fighting officer can lead to the lack of interest of international mass media to our region. And Russians keep killing people in Kherson Oblast, and it is very important for the world to know about Russia's crimes. Thank you. Thank you for your speeches. Yesterday, during discussion of the dismissal, the situation was commented by the head of the press service of the Command Center South, Yulia Khymeryk, and that was published in the chat. I'm not sure I can quote it as it is, but generally, Ms. Gumenyuk believes that Dmytro made a mistake that led to quite difficult and significant impact. And that's why another press officer will be hired. And as far as I know, that person has already started its job. I would like to add that apart from the briefing that we have now, there is the initiative for journalists, fixers, and local producers who continue their work in Donbass and in south of Ukraine on the front line. This is their statement. And now around 89 persons has already signed the statement. This text is being finalized because it is actually wider than the topic of our today's briefing. I believe that the process will continue, and as soon as we have any news, and if this topic is interesting for journalists, you can address for additional information to Media Center Ukraine to get additional information. And we are waiting for the final result when it comes to finalization of the statement text. Several journalists have joined us, but who are not here today. This is the correspondent of Inter in South, Andrei Anastasov, who unfortunately could not join us today. This is also correspondent Maria Shevchuk, website Informa, Odessa, and several more journalists, but unfortunately they were not able to join us today. And when we show how many people there are in our media center, you can see how many people support Dmytro Pletenchuk. This is Vadim Tutuk, Odesa Online, Victoria Sabir, a fixer and local producer, who also asked to name her in our broadcast, Nina Leshunak, Ukrinform, and other journalists, not only journalists, whom you can see here. And if there are any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. Anton, can you take a chair to join us? Closer to other participants. Please turn on the mic. The mic, please. Mihailo, thank you very much for having us today. And for everyone, it is important to ensure effective communication policy. My name is Anton Kudinov, a fixer and a local producer, the one who fixes everyone. Mikhail, I have a question to you. Why do you say that the text has not been finalized yet? Because people has already started signing that statement. This is, and they are the institutions. The statement will be sent to, including the highest level, and it is because that was the plan that the text would be read during the online broadcast. And this is great that people, despite the martial law, are ready to protect the information policy and also to support the press officer. A lot of international mass media has signed the text. And because I've already named people who has written to me. So this is a collective letter. And it was created as a teamwork. Should I read the introduction as well? I did not know that the text had been finalized. And there are 79 persons who were ready to sign the text, meaning that the text is ready. Can you publish the text as a part of release? That's actually what I mean. We can publish the text. I have not seen it yet. That's why I didn't know if it was ready or not. That's great that people have already signed the text, but some of them were ready to sign even before the text was finalized. There was a draft, and everyone understood what was the purpose of the text. We need to specify details, the job, etc. So the main message of the text is that we would like our statement to be considered by the representatives of the Ministry of Defense. For Dmytro Pletenchuk as the head of the press service of the tactic group DREAM to be renewed on his position, and also to consider the possibility of positive and effective changes in the communication and staff policy of the Operational Command South. Everyone who signed and everyone who is still silent knows too well about the challenges and problems that we can have in the South. We do not know that much about the military crimes in Kherson Oblast. We know about mass execution of our captured soldiers. We know about tortures of people and animals, but somehow this information is not provided. And those people who are in the home front is a red zone, and it cannot be compared with Mariivka, Bakhmut, etc. Thank you very much for raising this issue, but sorry for taking your time. Thank you. Thank you very much for the information that the text is ready. And I would also like to read it before signing, because it is important for me to see the final version. If you have any questions about press conference or about Anton's address, you can ask them. If there are no questions, we will stop here. We'll finalize our press conference. If you want to support Dmytro, please sign the statement and you can support them in writing. And there is, maybe you want to say something to support Dmytro. If you want to add something, please tell us. There are some technical issues. So there is a question, but I don't want to ask the question now. It's not a question, but I would like to make a short addition. Геннадий Куликов, Сибирцев, Думская. So now we are discussing systematic inconsistencies. This is not an individual case. I mean the dismissal of Dmytro Pletenchuk. This is an approach and continuation of the systematic policy of the press service of the Operational Command South. And this is truth. We even have some memos of one official says do not allow, the recording is not allowed. Filming is not allowed. So this is a systematic approach of this entity institution when it comes to work with journalists. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will finalize our briefing, and we hope that the Operational Command Sound will listen to the opinion of the journalists who really work in the area on the front line. You will be able to sign the statement after the press conference. Our next briefing will take place in 30 minutes, and it is dedicated to the possibility of handing over Western fighters and other types of weapons. And we will have with us Igor Romanenko, the General of the Airborne Forces. Please stay tuned.
Хочу всех поздравить с решением аккредитации.
Ты дождался.